New episode. Let's get it cracking so I don't bore you to tears. G'day, trendsetters. Welcome to episode 179 of the Train Smooth podcast. My name is Tim Egg, and if you have any questions you'd like submitted to the show, jump on through to the website, trainsmooth.com. On the homepage, it has the all the information you need to submit your questions. I feel good, I feel needed, I feel cared, I feel loved about every time I receive your questions. Though I've still got that little bit of a backlog going at the moment. I'm about 5 behind, and that's purely because I'm really out of routine at the moment. I have been for the last 3 weeks. I took 3 weeks off work, and I've just, I'm a person that really needs, everything to be perfectly normal. I go to work at the same time every time I go to, the school, kids go to school, the wife goes to work, everything, I'm very routine orientate. Everything has to just fit in nicely, and when something's not quite right, things generally turn pear-shaped. So things are turning to pear-shaped. But anyway, I have been doing my best to try and keep this consistent and keep, try and get this show out every day, but I've been a bit hopeless in the last couple of weeks, so I do apologise. So today's question sparked my interest, and it got moved right up the pile because I like it. So the question comes from Dave. I saw that Ultraman has announced a new series of races coming out. Day 1, 5 kilometre swim, 100k bike ride. Day 2 is a 200 kilometre bike ride. Day 3, a 50k run. At this stage, they're looking at doing it towards the end of this year. How would I train for this? I'm a multiple Ironman finisher. So I saw this too, and it sparked my interest. And no, they're looking at doing it in March now in Australia. So I was going to do Ironman Australia next year in May. I was telling the wife, I told my auntie who lives up in Port Macquarie, I said, get your spare bed out. Get that ready. I'm camping in. But now this has come out, I'm going to have a serious conversation with the wife about this one, because this really sparked my interest. Something new, something different, something really hard, but yet highly manageable. So while Ultraman, that's on my bucket list. I aim to do that in my mid-40s, so I'm still 7 years or so off from that. But I want to make sure my kids are old enough to be my support team. Yeah. But I just couldn't dedicate that training hours at the moment personally for a full Ultraman to give it the respect I feel like it needs. But this kind of racing, that does spark my interest, really. It's almost, I'll go into this in a little bit, but I feel you're looking at it, if you're training for an Ironman, there's a fair bet you could just probably go in and complete this relatively well. Now, while I've got a lot of theories on how to train for an Ultraman. When I first started coaching, I had someone ask me to coach him for an Ultraman, and I actually said no at the time because I didn't have enough confidence in myself to do that. But I'd love to get my grubby little hands on that person now if you'd asked. But what I would look at, see, the thing when we're talking Ultraman, for instance, we've got to manage fatigue. So these ideas of going out for a weekly 10-hour bike ride or a weekly 8-hour bike ride, I don't believe in that side of things. I do believe they have to be done, but not weekly. We're kind of moving where this sort of thing. I'd be most Ironman athletes, their long swim, for instance, will be 4Ks. There's no need. There's no. There's no worry about bumping this up to your weekly long swim to 5, 6, 7Ks, and then having some faster, shorter, harder ones through the week. So day 1's 5K swim, 100K bike. That, most Ironman athletes can do that every single day of the week. You can wake them up at 4 a.m. and say, right, go out and do it. And yet they're just straight out of a deep sleep. They should be able to do that. Day 2 is a 200k bike ride. See, that's again, and then day 3 is a 50k run. So For your long bike ride, I'd be really making it, like, for most people, they have, they work Monday to Friday, they have Saturday, Sunday off. So I'd be really piling up Saturday, Sunday, make your weekly long bike ride, 200 kilometers, 200k, and then your following day, Sunday, I'd be making my long run up, as long as your body allows you to do this, around a 20-mile run, so about a 32-kilometer run. And then maybe, depending on, you have to manage fatigue here as well. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew. Maybe once a fortnight, do an afternoon 10k run as well. So that becomes a 40-kilometer run. That becomes a marathon throughout the day, really. You had this post blog going back a year or so ago, where Brett Sutton wrote about getting Danielle Reef to do a marathon every 3 days in the lead up to Kona. But she didn't just go out and do 42 kilometers. He split it up. So what he would do is, one time he'd make them run 20 miles in the morning and another 6 miles at the afternoon. Another run might be 4 10.5k runs with good rest in between each one. Another one might be 20k's in the morning, 10 at lunchtime, 10 at night. So if I was to say, for most Ironman athletes, if you were to say, just give me 4 10k runs, 10.5k runs throughout the day, start off early in the morning and finish late at night, they're very manageable. You're not getting, with all those rests in between, you're getting the miles in the legs, you're getting that body used to pounding the ground, but you're not putting yourself at risk where a marathon, even if you run a marathon at a slow pace, there is that significant recovery time needed after it. Where so I'd be taking that kind of concept into this training. It depends on your age, because you didn't write how old you are. I'd be also inclined, when we're bumping some miles up now, it's not significant bump up from Ironman, but there is a bump up. So generally when I create programs, I fill up every single day for a full training block, and with no days off, and I let the athletes dictate, let life circumstances get in the way to create a rest day, or let if their bodies are absolutely buggered and they need a rest day, just take a rest day, don't play catch up, just move to the next and keep going. Something like this, I would probably be inclined to have a rest day every 7 to 10 days. And if you're not going to pump in a rest day, I'd be making it like an hour on the bike, super, super easy. So it'd be like a coffee shop ride. Whatever gear you think you need, go one easier. And you just ride half an hour to a coffee shop, have a coffee, have a cuppa, and then scoot back easy. Easy. So I'd be pretty inclined. And then it's hard because I'm just throwing out a lot of theories here, because you don't really add too much information, but I'd slowly build it up. It'd be almost training for an Ironman. It's just your long bike ride, you'd bump it up a little bit. Whatever you're doing, just add more. And for that, in the long run, the problem with this kind of racing and Ultraman, for instance, it's not the actual race itself, which is the challenging part. What it actually is that mental strength needed to get through training day in, day out for those months, especially when you're talking Ultraman. I'm sure I could get through an Ultraman, no worries at all. But I'm not sure at this stage of my life anyway, I've got that mental strength there to get through all the training needed to do one. If that makes sense, I'd have the expectations of what I'd want to achieve anyway in that. So I feel like if I'm not going to give it my full attention, I'm not showing it the respect needed. But what the cooler part about this race is there is no crew needed. Like Ultraman, you need a crew. So there is no crew. I was talking to Wayne from 17 Hours very briefly about it, and I think he wants me to do it. I'm part of the 17 Hours triathlon team. I think he'd be very keen for me to do it. I think there's a couple of 17-hour athletes doing it. But he was talking about there's going to be minimal aid stations, and so that doesn't sounds like so when I cycle, I only ever have one drink bottle on me. Races, I'm training, and I plan all my bike rides around where I think all the taps are, so I can pull over, fill my bottle up, and keep going. So I think that would pee me off a little. But anyway, going back to you, I'll try not to make this about me and make this about you. I'd be really bumping your swim up, and I'd be really focusing on that long bike ride, but managing that long run. So 32 Ks in the morning, another 10 at night, and I'd maybe even inclined to do like a double run day. So if you have for instance, actually, as I'm thinking here, what you could probably do is change that around a little. So let's say you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday is your main training day. So Friday, wake up a little bit earlier, just lose a little bit of sleep or whatever you can. Go for a 20 kilometer run that day, and either go for a ridiculously long ride Saturday, or do your long run Saturday and then do your long run Sunday. I'd be inclined to do about a 20k run Saturday. Sorry, do a 20k run Friday, do a 32k run Saturday morning, do a 10k run Saturday night, rest as much as humanly possible. To do something like this, I'd be really, really, really focusing on recovery and good quality nutrition throughout it all. And then Sunday, I'd just go out and do a 220 kilometer bike ride. I'd be only inclined to be doing that generally once a fortnight, and then on the other fortnight, just your normal Ironman build sort of style training. That's what I'd be inclined to do. Now, my answer would be different if you said you're trying to podium or you're going for the win. I'd want a hell of a lot more information, but my answer is probably going to be different. This is just to finish it, and you want to finish it nicely too. Yeah, you don't want to be running 20 kilometers on day 3 and then have to walk the last 30. You want to run the whole 50 Ks. Yeah, so I like it. If I could, I would definitely be doing it. You've got 8 hours per day to do it. So day 1, day 2, day 1's definitely not a problem. Day 2, what's that equal? So you have to travel more than 25 kilometers an hour. Yeah, that shouldn't be too much of a problem for most people. And then day 3, 50 Ks in 8 hours. I feel like you can walk that. I feel like you can walk 50 Ks in 8 hours. Anyway, all the best. I hope, hopefully, if I don't do Ironman Australia, I'll be doing this. So I'm excited to see how this race goes. So all the best. If you guys have any other questions, shoot me through an email, tim@trainsmooth.com. Till tomorrow. Hooroo.